Hi children, we'll be moving on to the next problem, that is 51st one, in which a ship is now sailing towards the northeast direction, that is in the first quadrant, with the velocity has been given the vector form where I and j are the unit vectors along x-axis and y-axis or even east and north. Ship B is at a distance equal to 80 kilometers east and 150 kilometers north of the ship, and it is now sailing towards the west at a speed of 10 kilometers per hour. So A will be minimum distance from B will be. So A ship will be having a minimum distance from B. In the sense is, uh, if you differentiate the equation here, no, the differential factor should become E0. Then that will be the giving the condition where the distance will be minimum. That is actually basic concept of the problem. Now in this one, first let us write down the coordinates of the position of the two ships now. Ship A is now streaming in the northeast direction with a velocity equal to v velocity vector we know. So therefore that velocity vector is actually 30i plus 50j. Now the displacement of this ship, displacement of the ship or position vector of the origin can be now given by call as, let us say, RA, position vector of the first ship. So position of the first ship will vector will be equal, position vector of the first ship now will be equal to velocity vector into time. So velocity vector into time t seconds or t hours or t minutes here now. Therefore, I can write 30 into I plus 50 into j whole multiplied by t gives the position vector of the first ship. Position vector of the first ship, right? Now next is it is second ship is 80 kilometers east and 150 kilometers north. 80 east and 150 kilometers north. Therefore, somewhere here it is lying, right? So therefore, this ship B is at this particular point, and from there it is going towards left side, towards west, with a velocity equal to how much? Now 10 kmph. So velocity of the B ship now will be equal to 10 kmph. Okay, it is streaming towards left side. So therefore, its position vector, if I want to write down here now, at any instant, the position vector of B ship will be given by, it is, since it is going towards left side, the displacement will become negative. So therefore, it is on the x-axis, minus of 10t plus already positive side, it is 80 kilometers towards right side, towards east. Therefore, 10 minus of 10t plus 80 I cap, and along y-axis it is 150. Yeah, it is 150 j cap. It is no at rest. No, it is not at rest, it is constant. Therefore, time factor will not be multiplied over here. Time factor will not be multiplied here. Okay, so therefore now, after knowing these position vectors here, now let us find out the position vector of B relative to A. So position vector of B relative to A, if I want to find out, then from B I have to subtract A. Then I am getting minus of 10t plus 80 minus of 30 I cap. Similarly, regarding y-axis, regarding y-axis, it is 150 is already there, minus of 50 into j cap, minus of 50 into whole multiplied by, let us say, whole multiplied by 50 into t. So 50t into j cap, because I am going to multiply with time now. Now, let us find out the magnitude of this position vector B relative to A. The magnitude, if I want to find out here now, right? So therefore, that can be written as minus 10t minus 30. T also should be there, children. T also should be there here. Therefore, minus 10 minus 30 will become minus 40t plus 80 whole square, because I am going to find out the magnitude. Next is, it is 150. It is 150 minus of 50t. It is whole square. Whole square under root. Whole square under root. So therefore, this was actually the magnitude of the relative position of B, position of B ship relative to A. Okay. Now if I square it on simplifying, I am going to get it is under root of, it is under root of, it is 40 minus of 40 t square will become 1600 t square plus 6400 minus of 80 into 40 t into 2 will be equal to minus of 6400 t, because 40 into will become 80, 80, 80 will become minus of 6400 t. Okay, then 15 square will become 225, therefore 225 double 2500 minus of plus of 50 square, it is 2500 square into t square minus of 2 into 150 into minus 150 will become minus of 1500 or minus of 115 triple zero into t. Okay, this is the one we have got obtained here. Now what exactly I'm going to do now? I'm going to simplify this one. If I'm going to simplify this one, I am going to get is under root of, right, t square of 2500 plus 1600 will be added. Therefore, 25 plus 16 will become 4100 t square. Then minus 6400 t and minus of 15,000 t will become, it is minus of 21,400 t, 21,400 t and plus 28,900, and addition of these two gives me. Therefore, since magnitude I got it now I have to find out the minimum distance. So for minimum distance, I have to find out dr by dt. So therefore, in when I'm finding dr by dt, so power is half is there. So power half will become 1 by 2, and therefore I'm going to get 1 by 2 into under root of the whole term 4100 t square plus minus of 2100 t, it is plus of 28,900. Okay, this is the one I'm going to get, and differential of the numerator term. Differential of numerator term will give us now, it is 8200 t square will become t minus of 21,400 t, and this will become 0. And this derivative must be equal to 0, because first derivative, let it be maximum or minimum, has to become 0. Therefore, this denominator also will be equal to 0. Finally, I'll be doing about this equation now, taking only the numerator part. It is 8100 t uh, sorry, minus of, it is 21,400 t will be equal to, no, it is t square will become t, and t will become constant, children. So therefore here we won't be getting t, here we won't be getting t, so therefore t will not be there, and this part will be equal to 0. Therefore from this relation, t will be equal to 21,400 divided by 8,100 will gives you 2.6 hours. Therefore, after 2.6 hours, the distance between the first ship and second ship will become minimum. Actually, the question is after how much time? After how much time the ships will become close or minimum distance? Instead of asking distance, you could have asked time, but options are given for time now. So let us evaluate for time. So now let us move on to the next problem, children. Yeah. A parachutist, after bailing out, falls 50 meters. So therefore, let us go for the diagram. Therefore, at a particular point a parachutist starts falling down. From here, it has fall down to B. The distance will be equal to 50 meters. Okay. It is actually, since it is now jumping from a parachute here now, his initial velocity will be considered as 0, because parachute velocity is not being given to us. Okay, now after traveling 50 meters here now, right, he will gain certain amount of velocity we call as V1. Let us find out V1 using the distance, because time we don't know. So therefore, to find out the velocity, let us use the formula V square minus U square will be equal to 2as. U will be 0. Therefore, V1 square will be equal to 2 into acceleration is acceleration due to gravity 10, and displacement will be equal to 50 meters. Therefore, V1 will be equal to root of, it is 1000 meters. 1000, it is meters per second. So therefore, this is the amount of the velocity he is going to gain after falling down for 50 meters. Okay. Now, at this particular point, he has opened the parachute. When the parachute is being opened, he decelerates at a rate of equal to how much? To 2 meters per second square. Therefore, he is coming down, but with retardation equal to how much? To 2 meters per second square. Therefore, acceleration due to gravity should not be used. He reaches the ground at a velocity equal to how much? To 3 meters per second. Therefore, finally, ground will be somewhere here. Somewhere here. He has reached the ground C point with a velocity equal to V2 is 3 meters per second. The distance traveled from A to B will be called as y1. Distance traveled from B to C traveled before reaching the ground will be called as y2. So let us find out y2 in terms using v1 and v2. Therefore, v2 square minus v1 square will be equal to 2as. V square minus v square will be equal to s. V2 square will be equal to 3 square is 9. Minus of v1 square will equal to how much now? 1000. Under root will become 1000. Will be equal, since it is coming down with retardation, minus of 2 into retardation is 2 into y2. Y2 is a displacement. So therefore, this will be y2 now will be minus minus will gets cancelled after subtraction. So therefore, 991 divided by 4 I am going to get. 991 divided by 4 displacement is actually the one which is going to be now calculated from B to C only. So whose value will be nearly 247.5 meters. And the total distance, total height from where he has dropped now will be equal to, h will be equal to y1 plus y2. It is 50 meters plus 247.5 meters will become, it is 297.5 meters. So therefore, at a height of 297 meters, 297.3, and but the nearest option is 293, because I think he might have taken G as 9.8, but we have taken G as equal to 10. That's why small difference is there. So if you take G 9.8, definitely you'll reach that answer. So therefore, at a height of 297 with respect to if G as 10, or 293 if G has taken as 9.8 meters per second. Okay. At this particular height, he has dropped out from the parachute and he has reached the ground with a velocity equal to how much? So 3 meters per second. Right, children, let us move on to the next problem. A particle is moving towards east with a velocity of 5 meters per second. So velocity of the particle along x-axis. Velocity of particle along x-axis will be equal to it is phi I cap I can write down, and its velocity changes towards north. The velocity of along y-axis now will become 5 meters per second. This is into j cap. This also meters per second. Towards north, the average acceleration will be, initially it was going towards east, then going towards north. Vector form we have written. Then how to find the acceleration? Acceleration by definition, acceleration now will be equal to a is equals to v2 vector minus of v1 vector divided by delta t. v2 vector will be phi j cap minus of phi into I cap, okay, divided by time will be average acceleration in 10 seconds. In 10 seconds. Phi, if I take out common, I'll get 1 by 2 into j minus I. So negative I plus j. Negative I plus j means negative I plus j. Therefore, it will be lying in the second quadrant. So therefore, acceleration direction will be in the second quadrant. Second quadrant means north of west, or northwest you can call. Northwest we can call. Northwest. Which option we can give? 1 by 2. And magnitude also you have to find out, because he has not given the value. So magnitude, acceleration magnitude will be equal to 1 by 2 is common under root of, it is coefficient of g square plus coefficient of 1 I square. 1 plus 1 will become 2. It is root 2 by 2 will be equal to 1 by root 2. 1 by root 2, units will be meters per second square and in the northwest direction. 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2, second, the third options are correct. But towards northwest and northeast, therefore northwest is correct. Northwest. Okay. So now let us move on to the next problem. Okay. In this problem, children, this is also previous IIT question, as you know. J mains question. A body is at rest x is equals to 0 at t is equals to 0. That is, it is starting from the origin at t is equals to 0. It starts moving in same in this at the same in moving in the positive x direction with constant acceleration. Okay, moving towards x axis. At same instant, another body passes through the origin, moving in the opposite direction, moving in the positive x direction with a constant speed. At the same instant, another body passes through x is equals to 0, moving in the positive x direction. Even this also going towards it, but with a constant speed. So therefore, these two factors we have to keep in mind. Second one is going with a constant speed, but first one is going with constant acceleration. Both are going in the same direction towards positive side. The position of the first part body is given by x1t, he said. Let us write out the equation. So therefore, x1 is a function of time. Since it is going with an acceleration, it is at t is equals to 0, and at t is equals to 0, at x is equals to starts moving. Therefore, initial velocity will be equal to 0. When initial velocity will be equal to 0, displacement is given by the formula half into acceleration into t square. So first equation. Similarly, second equation, second one, so for second particle, it is constantly going with an acceleration, constantly going with a uniform velocity. Therefore, this will be equal to v into t. This was the position of the second particle after t seconds, and this was the position of the first particle after t seconds. Both we have obtained. Now, he is asking to find out, okay, which of the following graphs correctly represents the x1 minus x2 as a function of time. Let us find out the value of x1 minus x2. So therefore, function of times I'm not writing x1 minus x2. By default, we have understood. Therefore, half into a into t square minus of vt. Since it's a quadratic equation in terms of time, definitely curve will be in parabola. Curve will be in parabola. More or less, all the graphs are parabolas. Is it inward or outward? We don't know. Right? Moreover, if a is coefficient of now, if coefficient of t square is negative, it is retardation downward curve. Since a is positive, definitely it is upward curve. Therefore, I can eliminate the D option. Now I have to find out between the first, second, and third. Okay, right. Moreover, now once this equation has been there with us here, now let us see. At t is equals to 0, at t is equals to 0, particle is now starting from the origin, particles is now starting from the origin, right? But the problem is, as the time is going to be now increased, let us say time will be increased by 1 second or 2 seconds, therefore this factor will be more than this one, because it is already have a velocity of v. With this acceleration, it will reach to this v. It takes little bit of amount of time. So therefore, as the time is t plus, we can call t plus. Therefore, just more than t is equal, or we can call as the time value will be 0 plus, we can call. What is the meaning of 0 plus? Just above 0. Maybe 0.1 seconds, maybe 0.2 seconds, or maybe 1 second, or maybe 1.1 second, likewise. If I am going for just above 0 seconds, therefore this factor will be more and this factor will be less. Therefore, net displacement will become negative. So here there is no negative. Here there is no negative. Only one option is there. So therefore, definitely upward parabola with initially negative displacement should be there. With initially negative displacement. So that is explained by this curve here. Therefore, your option C is correct. Option C is correct. Okay, children. Let us move on to the next one. A person is now standing on an open ground. Hears the sound of a jet aeroplane coming from the north. Let us say we'll take north somewhere here, and a person is somewhere over here. So therefore, jet plane will be keep on moving like this, moving most horizontally, and a man is now standing over here. So therefore, the sound which is now given by the aeroplane will be reaching to the observer. Okay, at an angle with the ground is said. With the ground means if this is 60, definitely this also will be equal to 60 degrees. Okay, then velocity of aeroplane will be equal to, it is velocity of sound component, it will be, because it appears to be almost on the above the person. So therefore, velocity of the plane, by the time the sound is reaching here, the aeroplane has reached over here. So therefore, velocity of plane will be velocity of sound into cos component, cos 60. So therefore, velocity of plane, because velocity of sound is coming like this, its component will be equal to velocity of the aeroplane. So Vp will be equal to V into cos 60. Cos 60 is 1 by 2. Therefore, Vp will be equal to, it is V by 2. V by 2. Okay. Thank you, children. Thank you. So with this last problem, I think most of the J mains questions I have covered. Most of the J mains questions I have covered here now, and few questions are simple one. Maybe one or two questions I have ignored here now, but most of the problems have been covered here now. Probably the next video I'll be making on the advanced. As advanced video has been been made here now, I'll be sharing with you. Thank you, children.